Hello, love bugs, and welcome back or welcome to your new favorite show, Dear X One Last Thing, a show where nothing is left unsaid. If this is your first time tuning into the show, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so glad to have you here on Dear X One Last Thing, where we recognize that oftentimes we have to make our own closure, write our own story, write our own endings in order to have a fresh start again. Today's story is from someone in the thick of it, someone in the heart of young love. Our sender is 16, and I believe that high school is one of the most confusing and intense times when it comes to love and relationships. You have so much time, usually not a lot of responsibilities, and you are so full of emotion and lack so much life experience and have such a lack of romantic situations to base your actions off of. So all emotion, all action, no experience. It just makes for the craziest of memories and the craziest of situations, and how can we really blame them? Our sender was 14 at the time of her relationship and met her ex at a skating rink. She says her first impression of him was that he was handsome. He had that curly hair that most girls adore. She mentions that she thought he was a charmer, or what I like to call a smooth talker. The relationship only lasted a month and 2 weeks, but let me warn y'all, it was 6 weeks of madness, okay? So hold on tight, this is about to be a wild ride. Our sender starts off by saying that she lives in a small town, so there's not many places to hang out. So the main place for her was the skating rink, where she came to eventually meet her ex, who we'll call Jay. He was around a year older than her. They started talking to each other and were pretty on and off. And she says that this was her hoe phase. And when I read that, I gasped. Hoe phase. Hoe phase at 14. If the sender is listening to this, and I hope that she is, but if any young girls are listening to this, please listen to what I say. At 14, at 15, at 16, you're not going through a hoe phase. You are a kid. And I don't mean that you are a child, that you're incapable of making decisions, or that your experiences aren't serious or worthy. I just mean that this is the time to explore what you like, what you don't like, who you don't like. It's the time to not take yourself so seriously, to take your decision so seriously. Please do not feel guilty or slutty for dating people, for talking to people, for flirting with people. This is the first time in your life that you're feeling like this real surge of hormones and emotions and wants and desires. And later in life, you'll understand that. Later in life, you'll look back and think, like, why was I so hard on myself? And the thing is, you get older and you're in your 20s and 30s, and you talk about decisions you made in high school, people you dated in high school, and people say, like, oh, that doesn't count. That's high school. Not because the situation wasn't serious, or your emotions weren't real, or the love wasn't real, but because there is this collective understanding that this is all what we do. This is what everyone does in high school. This is how everyone is feeling in high school. And the decisions, the people you meet in high school, these will be your beginning reference points for how you want to act later, for what you look for in a partner later. And you'll continue to build off these reference points for the rest of your life. But the thing is, it's just the beginning. So please, ladies, please do not feel like you are a hoe or going through a hoe phase. Don't let any of these high school boys make you feel guilty for dating people, talking to people, snapping people, okay? I promise that don't even feel bad. Don't even apologize for it. Back to our sender. She says at the time that she met Jay, she never really had a relationship, just the kiddish ones where you kind of giggle because they hugged you on the playground. She realized that she wanted something more, and so her and Jay start to date in a more genuine way. Then she says it goes downhill from there. She writes, he wasn't the keeping to himself type, and he flirted with girls most of the time in front of me. Our sender goes on to recall a time where her best friend at the time, and Jay were all hanging out together, messing around, taking each other's phone in kind of this like kiddish, playful way. And then her best friend jumps into Jay's lap and sits in his lap to either take her phone back or take his phone. And our sender notes that she felt really weird about that and kind of started to see how they were weird with each other. I want to take another second to pause here and say, young girls, please trust your intuition. Start now. Sometimes you're going to be wrong. Sometimes what you think is intuition is actually going to be insecurity, or it's going to be anxiety, or it's going to be hope. It's going to be what you want to see. But sometimes it will be intuition, and the more you start to give yourself time and room to listen to it, the better the skill will develop and be and help your life. Someone once said that anxiety kind of comes as a question. It comes as a series of questions. It comes as a series of what ifs. And intuition sometimes is a bit more quiet and also comes as a knowing, whether it's something you want to know or don't want to know. It's kind of unshakable. There's a really good episode in the podcast Psychology of Your 20s, like anxiety or intuition. It's called like, what is it, anxiety or intuition? She kind of explains this. But intuition is, how I think of it is like intuition is deep in your gut and anxiety kind of feels like higher up in your body. So I want you to just know, you might be young, people might call you crazy, but if you feel like something's weird, if you feel like something's off, don't be afraid to go with that and let that be proof enough alone. You don't have to wait for it to get so bad and so hurtful for it to be a sign that it's okay to leave. Your intuition can be enough. We are going to dive back into the story because this is where things get wild. Our sender says when they were in a relationship, he was coercing her to do sexual things that she wasn't comfortable with. He would say, you don't love me. He would say, if you loved me, you would do these things for me. If you loved me, you'd want to do these things for me. How can you love me and refuse to do these things? And even worse, he'd say, how can I love someone who doesn't do these things for me? And then he would switch and he would manipulate her using a different tactic. He'd say, well, I love you. I only want to be with you. You're the woman of my life. We'll be together forever. Our sender said it felt suffocating. Like every turn she made, she couldn't actually move. And that line stopped me dead in my tracks because that is the feeling of anyone who's ever loved someone who's manipulating them. Any man, any woman, any person, any age, any phase in their life, any length of relationship. That feeling of suffocating, of not knowing what's real, what's fake, just knowing something's wrong, not knowing where to turn, not feeling like you have anywhere to turn, not feeling like anything you do is the right decision, that just kind of like uneasiness, that is it. This 16-year-old painted it clear as day. And I need you to know, whoever you are, whatever age you are, but especially if you're young, I need you to know that someone who loves you, being in a relationship with someone who loves you, will feel free. It'll feel like you are free to be yourself, all sides of yourself. You are free to make mistakes. You are free to mess up. You are free to not feel good. You are free to not feel up to something. You are free to not feel comfortable with something and speak about it. You are free to not show up as 100% of your best self every day. You are free to not have all the right answers all the time. Someone who loves you, who cares for you truly, deeply, will not want to see you uncomfortable. Seeing you uncomfortable will also make them uncomfortable, especially if they are the person who put you in that discomfort. If they are the one that hurt you, that will hurt them. And they will want to avoid that at all costs. Even when they see you in healthy discomfort, like you trying something new, that they will want to be there to support that from you or support that for you. And maybe they might want to take that discomfort away, but they will find a way to make your life easier, not harder. Someone who loves you won't feel good putting you in a painful situation because they love you and they want you to enjoy yourself and enjoy life with them. Someone who manipulates you will not care because they don't love you, they love using you, and they love that you're letting them. Our sender goes on to tell us how he begins telling her that she's too fat. He would take her coffee, eat her lunch, blame it on the fact that he was a football player. He needed her food for muscle. She was a girl. She didn't need all that food. This caused our sender to start hating herself, to get depressed, not want to leave her house, and genuinely feel like there was nothing good about herself. Then on top of the coercing, on top of the body shaming, on top of the control, he's cheating. He continues to tell her that she's worthless and then do stuff with her friends and then use the things he was doing with her friends to throw in her face to prove to her that she was alone, that her friends were all against her. Our sender says, I didn't think for myself. I didn't speak for myself. I just did what was best for him. And it was like I was under his spell. When they finally broke up because she just couldn't take it all anymore, he got with his girl best friend that he priorly said was like a cousin to him. Then later, Jay and the girl best friend, now turned girlfriend, P, start harassing our sender, trying to jump her, making, fake spam Instagram accounts, messaging her and her best friend, sending their addresses back to them. But because the school couldn't actually pinpoint that it was Jay or maybe his girlfriend P, nothing was actually done, and it kind of just remained a mystery. Our sender's letter to her ex is short and sweet. She writes, Dear Jay, you were a learning experience in my life. You genuinely did nothing but destroy my high school years, making me feel bad about myself, wondering if I'm good enough for anyone else, barely getting the courage to even get out of the relationship, and then stalking me and my friends online. You're actually really crazy, and I hope you know karma is a bitch. And there are so many things I want to say to this sender. So many things I want to say to this sender because I relate to this story more than you can imagine. And what I want to most of all get across is there is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You did nothing to deserve this treatment. There's no way that you could have fixed or contorted yourself to make him love you or treat you better. You did nothing to ask for this treatment, and how you were treated wasn't right, and there's no excuse for it. And the only way to heal from it is time and pouring into yourself and surrounding yourself with people who genuinely love you. And that's hard when you're young because everyone's figuring out themselves and is not always their best version of themselves. But know that you are the one who's going to win in the end. Karma is absolutely real. And when you can continue to be an empathetic, loving person, you live life on a high and through these beautiful rose-colored glasses because you realize you could get through really hard things and still remain extremely kind, which will only bring kind of the best people around you eventually. And people like him who are hurting so bad from the inside that they have to hurt other people, it will eventually take just this great, unfortunate reckoning that they have with themselves, with life, that causes them to be a better person, or they will continue living life the way that they always have, hurting people around them, never healing. And it's an extremely lonely and miserable path. And that is why they had to stalk you and kind of like dabble. What's the word? That's why they had to like stalk you and bug you in your life, because these two people aren't happy with theirs and they need someone to blame and they need something to take the attention off themselves in their own life, because they can't sit with themselves and they can't sit with what's actually hurting them and what's actually wrong. So continue to be kind, continue to love yourself, continue to build yourself up, build strong boundaries, listen to your intuition, listen to red flags, and I promise you'll be just fine. If you are the listener, there are several episodes from this podcast I think you should listen to, because they are from someone who went through circumstances, relationships, high school years, very, 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 very similar to you, and she made it out and she's doing better than ever now. So I'm going to put those in the little description down below. If you ever feel alone, if you ever feel like you're the only one going through it, if you ever don't know how it's going to end, if you ever don't know how, the grass is on the other side, know that it's greener, know that it's lovely, know that you make it out. And those episodes are proof of it. To anyone who can relate to this episode, I'm so sorry. We all just need to create one big group chat and heal each other. But if you don't want to do that, I do know something else that's healing, and it's sending in a letter. So if you have a story of your own from an ex-partner, an ex-girlfriend, an ex-boyfriend, an ex-best friend, an ex-teacher, an ex-parent, an ex-grandparent, next version of yourself that you want to send in, please, please do. I am always needing more content from you guys. And in order to do that, I will put the little link in bio, or the link in the description. You could also look in the Instagram bio. You could also look in the YouTube bio. It'll take you to the link tree. The very first link you see will be the Google form that you could send your anonymous letter in. I promise it works. I'm living proof. Okay? Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. I recently have been just getting so much love on the Instagram. It's grown astronomically in the last couple of days. I think it's been something crazy, like 400 followers in 4 days or something insane like that. But my goal for this year was to surpass my private Instagram following, which I think is about 1,100. We're already almost at 1,000. So thank you. Thanks for making my dreams come true. I love this community that we're building, and I can't share that enough. I really, really can't. Life has just been absolutely insane, but we're finally getting back on track a little bit. I do have to go though. So until next time, I love you. Like, comment, subscribe, all the things.